Welcome everyone to the Reading Writing Corner. I am your host, Leanne. And it is so nice to see your beautiful face shining brightly in the sun. Or if it's raining, well, look at how wonderful it glows. I want to welcome you back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you haven't been here before. This is a non-spoiler review of The Wolf King by Alice Bouchard. And the series is called The Legend of the Wolves. This is actually the last book in the series. This series, The Legend of the Wolves, is about shape-shifting wolves blessed to be in human form and shape-shifting humans blessed to be in wolf form. What made me read this book? It is a sequel to The Silver Wolf and the last book in the series. Here is the blurb. The armies of Charlemagne are poised to conquer Italy. The human side of shapeshifter Meniel owes allegiance to Charlemagne, but the wolf acknowledges no master. Still, it is as both wolf and man that he embarks on a hazardous mission for the emperor. Captured, Meniel is condemned to death. Now with the help of a Saxon warrior whose love poses dangers of its own, Meniel's soulmate, Regan, will brave the icy crags and crevices of the Alps to rescue her husband, only to find that he is the bait in a trap set for her by a villainous man from her darkest past. But there is another enemy at work. Behind the tangle of ambitions and animosities, driving kings and commoners alike, an ancient evil thirsts for revenge of its own. A revenge demands the blood of Meniel and Regan and all of humanity. Meniel, a wolf, agreed to help King Charles of the Franks take over the Lombard kingdom, something that wolves do not normally content themselves with. Regan tries to be a good wife, but cannot help but want to stay by her lord husband's side and try to protect him. An ancient evil has awakened, and now it wants to bring the world back to before humans existed and only animals roamed free. The setup of most of the characters had been done in the previous books. The new characters' motives and setups were done during the small slice of POVs they had, or someone that has a scene with them. Most of the characters had their backgrounds already explored, thus the new characters had plenty of room to set up and explore their own backgrounds. The way Alice Bouchard did a really good job of creating characters with problems, decisions, believable relationships. For that time period, yes, I believe so. Many people were frightened of Meniel and Regan being able to shift into wolves. I imagine wolves do not care for human society the way Matrona acted. The way these characters were made felt realistic as far as a wolf turning into a human and a human turning into a wolf, as well as those of the Franks in the Roman kingdoms might act. The genre is historical fantasy. Did this live up to my expectations? It was better than the first book and made more sense to me than the other two books did. That might be because the other two had been read a long time ago and I had skimmed them to get up to speed for this book. I recommend not skimming any of these books. Confusion to mass. It'll be lots of confusion. Lots of confusion. Which character did I relate to most? No one, as I cannot turn into a wolf, nor was I born in the times of Rome and the Franks, struggling for the kingdoms. The one that stood out the most, though, was the unnamed Saxon. He was an escaped slave that was saved by Regan and now serves her because he feels like he is at home, because her father was a Saxon. What was more important, the characters or the plot? The characters were more important as they moved the plot, even if it was hard to understand what the actual plot was, because I mean, like, I didn't really understand what the plot was. It was just there, and there was not a lot of romance in this either. There were several POVs, and it did not affect my reading. I was better able to keep track of them and understand what was happening around the characters in this book than I was in the last one, The Night of the Wolf. Before we move on to the spoiler part of the review, I would like to leave you with, should you go and read this story/series? Yes. If you like ancient evils, wolves turning into humans, humans turning into werewolves, Frankish and Lombard kingdoms fighting in a war, and a little bit of romance that's splashed in here. Alright, people who do not want to be spoiled. Bye. See you later. In the first few chapters, you meet the main characters, side characters, and the important recurring characters. I've realized I need to speak about all characters, even if they have been introduced in previous books and review episodes. That way, anyone who hasn't seen the last review for the book series will know the characters. You have Hildegard, the goddess who gave Regan a blackthorn stick and told her to go places that she was needed. Regan, wife to the Lord of Land, Meniel. She can turn into a silver wolf, an ability that she gained from her father. She can speak to the dead and see visions of the future. Sylvie owns a shop that serves the dregs of Rum City. While selling her body, she ended up pregnant. She almost saw Regan burned for being a witch in the previous book. Meniel, Lord of the Land, given to him by King Charles, a wolf that can turn into a human. He pledged loyalty to King Charles. Gordo, loyal to Manel, can turn into a wolf. Well, she can turn into a human. Matrona, cook, and can turn into a black wolf. Obviously, turn into a human, really. Antonius, son of the Pope, speaker for Manel and Chamberlain to Regan. Gavin, works for Manel. He can turn from a red wolf into a human, of course. Barbara, woman staying and working for Manel. The Saxon, he is an unnamed escaped slave that ends up working as a bodyguard for Regan. Abba, he ran a church and was being used by the ancient evil. Bear Flames, the ancient evil that was using a church to gain people to take energies from mortals through relationships. Otho, a count owing Manel. Lucilia, captain guard and lover of the Roman Pope. Hugo, Regan's cousin that died from lightning fracking his brain. The ancient evil uses his body. Dulcinea, a singer that fell in love with Ludolf. Ludolf was the son of a lord of land in the Lombard kingdom that defected because the prince of Lombard killed his mother. Chiara, a young woman that can hear and see the ancient evil. She fell in love with the ancient evil, and there's a reason he stopped trying to destroy humans. Which really made me, I don't know, upset. Because, I mean, like, he wanted all humans dead. And the world back to worshipping animals. And animals just being animals. And he falls in love with a human? Hadrian, he is the Pope. Remingus, a dead soldier that's helping Regan out on her quest. Gerberga, a Frankish queen and sister-in-law to King Charles, trying to prevent King Charles from becoming ruler. Syagirus, ruler of Verona, maybe? And Karl, brother to Syagirus. Dion, public executioner of a city, possibly Verona. Charles, King Charlemagne of the Franks, who had his Frankish queen, the Frankish queen's children killed, which really upset Regan. Several point of views within this story in order of appearance are Regan, Manel, unnamed Saxon, Otho, Sylvie, Hugo, Chiara, Hadrian, Lucia, Matron, and last but not least, the one I am unsure about, is it Syagirus or Gerbertra or Karl? I'm not sure which one of them had the point of view, but it was one of the three. It didn't make itself known exactly which one it was. My favorite character was Regan, as she honors her husband and moves to keep him alive. Because I mean, like, he gets captured and she's like, I gotta go save him. Gotta go bust him out of jail. Gotta go bust him out of jail. My most disliked character was Hugo. For his despicable plans to kill Manel and Regan for money. He got what he deserved, being used by the ancient evil after dying and, you know, just being dead. He deserved it. All that he did. Although I'm pretty sad Chiara has to be with a man with a dead body just to be with her lover, the ancient evil. It was told in chronological order with zero flashbacks in it. It had appropriate language for a book set in Roman times. The foreshadowing suspense were done okay. Some of the suspense was neutralized before it could even build. The rest of it was well placed and written well. There was little foreshadowing done, as most of it relies on the reader knowing how the Roman times worked for succession and war. The background was explained for the most part. However, Alice Richard expected readers to have read the other two books in the series so that most of the old characters from the previous books do not need to be explained again. The title of the book must have meant something that has escaped me, as Mel was not hailed as the Wolf King by the end of the book, nor at all during the rest of it. Perhaps there was a symbolism of the fact that by the end of the story, King Charles is king of the Frank kingdom and the Lombard kingdom, and of course, most of the wolves in this that could turn into humans did follow Manel as if he was some kind of king, but it wasn't officially called king or a wolf king. The cover of the book is a main couple and a wolf, because both of them can turn into one. What stood out as memorable was Regan acted like an innocent child more often than not and could not seem to understand what some of her actions would result in happening, such as the murder for two little boys because they could have contested King Charles's rule and being the leader, obviously. My favorite passage from the story is What force could not compel, trickery could not accomplish, and threats could not achieve, compassion did. Something to be said about this passage. For most people will not bend or accept anything from anyone unless one has compassion. Which is basically talking about the ancient evil gaining compassion through Shara, who has compassion and love and understanding. My favorite quote. I feel as if, after a long journey, I have come home. The unnamed Saxon said that when he followed Regan home. I think it's because she was a Saxon. Half Rome. Maybe. Or Frank. Or whatever King Charles is. What I thought about the end of the book? Odd. It was odd. Minel riding off into the sunset with Regan after watching a king order someone to kill children, the city up in flames. I did not like the fact that the ancient evil fell in love with a mortal woman after using her for his own personal gain, demanding his goal to kill all humans and allow animals to roam free. Made no sense. Zero sense. None at all. Ancient evils are not supposed to just be like, oh, I'm done doing this now. Bye. Walking away. You know? What book did it remind me of? Robin Harp's first Sears trilogy. It's a good series. I liked it better than I liked the Legend of the Wolves series. This book, as you know, is part of a series called The Legend of the Wolves, and it has 3 books in this. I rate the book a 3, only because I didn't understand the plot, where it was going, what it was trying to accomplish, what it was trying to say, and the fact that the ancient evil, which was like, Manel, Regan, join me in wiping out all humans, and we can run free in the world and rule it together, to, I love you, Shara, my immortal human, you have shown me compassion, even though I've used you and threatened to kill you and your father several times. If you think I deserve a like, comment, or even your lovely subscription, drop it down below. I will see you next illusion.